every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, this is Nifemi Oguntoyi with the CoreTV News this hour. President Goodluck Jonathan is soliciting the support of major players in northern Nigeria to end the spate of clashes between farmers and herdsmen in that part of the country. This, he noted, is necessary for the success of the transformation agenda of his administration. President Goodluck Jonathan, who was represented by Vice President Namadi Sambo at a conference in Kaduna, lamented that no state in northern Nigeria is free of conflict.
We expect this conference to come up with key resolutions that will enhance mutual coexistence, peace and economic development, not only for pastoralists, but for the African continent in general. Let me assure you that at government level, we will study the outcome of this conference with a view to helping in fostering dialogue as a means of resolving disputes. And we urge participants to come up with actionable points that will help improve government policies and plans for a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria.
The Independent National Electoral Commission is in an upbeat mood after the success of the governorship election in Ekiti State. It's now looking forward to a more credible outing across the country in 2015. INEC Chairman Atahiru Jega said this on the sidelines of a meeting with the leadership of registered political parties in Abuja.
The successful conduct of free, fair and peaceful elections in Ekiti is a good omen for the subsequent elections to come, and indeed for the satisfaction of the aspiration of Nigerians for a consolidated democracy. The coming election in Osun State, God willing, should on all counts be better, and the 2015 general elections must be the best.
In furtherance of the promise made in his congratulatory message to Governor-elect Ayo Fayose, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi welcomed his elected successor to the Oke-Barike Government House in Ado-Ekiti. Both leaders promised to ensure a smooth transition. Rashid was there and filed in this report.
The announcement of the result of the June 21st election, where former Governor Ayo Fayose emerged as the governor-elect, and the concession speech of Governor Kayode Fayemi, which came with a promise that he will be meeting his elected successor, seems to have caught the governor-elect Ayo Fayose by surprise.
I commend him. I pray that God Almighty will make every way straight and okay for him in life. It is, even if it takes years, it will come to an end one day. Even if it's 20 years. But the spirit behind it all is, let us move forward.
Responding, Governor Fayemi says his action was born out of his respect for the wish of the people and adherence to democratic principles.
People have said it's strange, it's un-African or un-Nigerian. Well, I don't know. I am a Democrat, and the will of the people is the basis of democracy. And if this is the will of the people, we do not have a choice than to respect their will.
They both agree to work together for the interest of all Ekiti people and to ensure a smooth transition process.
After now, both sides will set up a committee that will begin to work in earnest towards ensuring that the government transits seamlessly from the current one to the next.
I am to equally ensure that we have a smooth transition and continue to give him right of place like every other leader in the state. because yet unborn children of this state will still be governed after us.
With the matured handling of the Ekiti post-electoral process so far, it is hoped that this will be a continuous exercise for the 4 months period until October, when the governor is expected to hand over to his successor. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The People's Democratic Party has commended the outgoing governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, for conceding defeat and congratulating the governor-elect, Ayodele Fayose. Fayose emerged winner of the keenly contested Ekiti State governorship election, which held on June 21. A statement issued by the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Lisa Metu, described Fayemi as a true Democrat. PDP says Fayemi's action is a ratio of patriotism and sportsmanship. It stated that Fayemi had exhibited the spirit of sportsmanship as propagated and practiced by the PDP and President Goodluck Jonathan. Metu, however, says that credit must be given to President Goodluck Jonathan for his insistence on free, fair and credible election at all levels. It thanked the people of Ekiti State and the entire nation for the massive support given to the PDP. And also, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, Tony Anene, has commended the outgoing governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, for accepting the outcome of the just concluded governorship election. Anene, who made this known in a statement issued in Abuja, says Fayemi demonstrated a rare spirit of sportsmanship by his action. He especially commended him for not only conceding defeat but also offering to work with the successor to move the state forward. Anene added that it is quite significant that for the first time in the annals of Nigeria's election in the Fourth Republic, allegations of rigging, violence and other malpractices did not feature in the conduct of the just concluded governorship election. Now, the spirit of sportsmanship displayed by the incumbent governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, after losing the June 21 governorship election, has been commended by Nigerians. A public affairs analyst described Governor Fayemi's act as unusual and worthy of emulation by politicians.
That was unusual but wonderful. Unusual in this part of the world because we hardly see things like that happen here. But we thank God because he has really shown that level of civility we expect from him. He has really shown refinement, and he's really shown he's a polished gentleman. If someone has really shown this and led by example, I think others should emulate. We shouldn't make it a practice in this country to be emulating bad examples, but good ones.
Similarly, Victor Hai says Fayemi shows he has the interest of the Ekiti people at heart with the way he accepted the defeat.
Fayemi has redefined post-election, if you like, reaction in Nigeria. Because, you know, in time past, you know, no one ever concedes defeat. You know, even before the elections are over, people are already preparing, and lawyers are waiting on the wings, you know, ready to take briefs to go to the court to battle. And it is usually said that many elections are fought in the courts and not even on the, you know, but what Fayemi has done, he has shown that he truly has the interest of Ekiti people at heart. That's a noble gesture indeed, and worthy of emulation.
Asking in the euphoria of the Ekiti election, a review of the governorship election in Ekiti by a non-governmental organization has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the police. Here's the details.
Against all expectations of exchange of accusations after election, what played out in Ekiti State was a departure from the norm, from the preparation by relevant agencies to its peaceful conduct and the quick concession message of Governor Fayemi. While reviewing the activities of INEC and police authority in the election, Chinedu Nwagu of Clean Foundation says though heavy security presence does not speak well, but according to him, it never hindered the electoral process.
Yes, this occasioned a significant restriction of movement in some areas of the state, but at the end of the day, there were no major incidents of security breach and no significant disruption of the process across the state.
While commending the police, the foundation called for a better condition of service for police officers, a call which was disputed by the leader of the police detachment, Magaji Nasarawa.
Very poor welfare arrangements were noted across the state. Most of the officials deployed from outside the state arrived here on Monday, 16th of June, particularly those from Cross River State Command and the rest of them. And from our interactions with them in the field, they complained that there was little or no provision, particularly for their accommodation.
They were well paid. Actually, they were paid before they even went for the elections. And today, we are paying them before finally we'll tell them to go home. So that's the story is not true.
He also challenged the authorities of the Independent National Electoral Commission and police not to rest on their oars, considering the success of Ekiti elections, which must be maintained and improved upon.
The efforts of INEC, the police and other security agencies as they worked assiduously towards ensuring that the Ekiti gubernatorial election was peaceful and was very successful. Agencies should continue to plan ahead of each election and ensure adequate logistic provisions for its personnel.
With the season of commendation on now for INEC and the police, it is certainly to say this is probably the best outing recently for the electoral body. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Abubakar, has decorated 9 newly promoted senior officers. The decorated officers included the first spokesman, Frank Umba, and 1 AIG, Grace Okudo. Umba was decorated as Assistant Commissioner of Police. The 4th spokesman and other 8 officers were among 210 senior officers promoted by the Police Service Commission. Abubakar described the newly decorated officers as men who had worked very hard and deserved to be elevated. He stressed that promotion of officers is an area of incentive to encourage officers and men to do more in service to their fatherland. He, however, challenged them to live up to expectation. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Police have reviewed its performance in the just concluded Ekiti governorship election, vowing to improve towards the 2015 general elections. Rashid has more on the Star.
The peaceful conduct of the June 21st governorship election and the handling of the post-election period by political gladiators have paved way for easy review. Leader of the Police Security Detachment in Ekiti, Bala Nasarawa, says the peace enjoyed during the election rests largely on the professionalism of the police force.
As we are mindful of the familiar disruptions and occurrences that generally mar the conduct of similar elections, our proactive approach in ensuring adequate security for the conduct of the election made it practically impossible for hoodlums or criminals to break the law or violate the electoral process.
The police boss thanked all Ekiti people for their orderliness and the cooperation the police enjoyed in the easy discharge of their duty during and after the election.
I salute the good people of Ekiti State for their highly commendable, orderly and peaceful conduct as law-abiding citizens before, during, and after the elections. I must submit that their cooperation with all security agencies was vital to the success recorded in the conduct of the whole electoral process.
Nasarawa pledged that the police will improve on the success recorded in Ekiti as the plan for the August 9 election in Osun and the 2015 general elections. He vowed to deal with anyone who wants to foment trouble in Ekiti, saying that the Nigerian police is still on ground.
On behalf of the Inspector General of Police, I wish to emphatically state that the standard witnessed in the conduct of a peaceful and orderly Ekiti State governorship election 2014 should be considered by all as a demonstration of the commitment and readiness of the Nigerian police force in ensuring the conduct of a very peaceful, credible, and acceptable 2015 general elections.
The Nigerian police has raised the standard with its conduct in the just concluded Ekiti election. Nigerians will expect nothing less as they prepare for the next general elections. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has described to media reports that it had dropped corruption case against the governor-elect of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, as untrue. Head of Media and Publicity Wilson Uwujaran says that the recent election of Fayose has not affected the ongoing trial of the former Ekiti State governor for alleged corruption. He stressed that the EFCC had not suspended the ongoing trial of the former governor at the Federal High Court, Ado Ekiti, Ekiti State. Uwujaran says the case would come up for hearing at the Federal High Court Ado Ekiti on July 15, 2014. He stated that the immunity clause only provided a cover from prosecution for the president, the vice president, sitting governors and their deputies, and not a governor-elect. Owojaren added that the case against Fayose has made substantial progress as the commission had called 2 witnesses to testify in the case. He said the issue of whether the case against the governor-elect would be withdrawn or not when he takes over as governor was a matter for the court to decide. You're watching CoreTV News on the Hour, live from Lagos. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Nigerians continue to travel the city of Lagos waits and dark as all routes.
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west and around Africa. We break the news.
We are one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTV News.
Welcome to CoreTV,
a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you join us again. Committee for the Defense of Human Rights has called for the institutionalization of true democracy in Nigeria. It called for the liberation of Nigerians from poverty, oppression and manipulation. Omotayo Alo has details.
The Committee for the Defense of Human Rights says Nigeria is yet to reflect true democracy 15 years after an uninterrupted civil rule. It added that it would be wrong for Nigerian leaders to take lightly what late Abiola fought and died for. They stated the importance of rebelling the principles of the pioneer of true democracy.
We want to go on street to remind the nation and the Nigerian people that June 23 was the date they annulled Chief MKO Abiola's victory.
We decided at the level of signature that June 23rd should be remembered as a National Liberation Day, as June 12th will remain the Democracy Day.
But we are in a situation where the state is not addressing critical issues. If you really want to promote peaceful democratic dispensation, MKO Abiola is somebody all governments in Nigeria must embrace, from local government, state government to the federal government. Otherwise, we are kidding.
Commenting on the outcome of Ekiti elections, comrades say,
if you see what happened in Ekiti, we have immediately constituted a committee to actually look into what happened. It shows we have a long way to still go, to still liberate the people further from their bondage of ignorance, so that they will not continue to rattle for the devil's alternative.
When the people of Ekiti want to, they speak, they said they need a change in the leadership, and they change. And the election, in fact, to my surprise, it went free and fair. It's the only election that I've ever put in the history of Nigeria where the observer, the local and international observers are speaking in the same voice.
The victory in Ekiti is not issue of party. It is personal. If you listen to what Fayose has said, if you listen to what Fayemi has said, you will understand clearly that people's power has come to stay in Ekiti.
Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeyemi Kuforiji, says the government is aware of the demands of the citizenry and would do everything to make the citizens happy.
I want to reassure you, we identify with you in this struggle. We ask for the total freedom for the Nigerian person, wherever a Nigerian finds himself. We want freedom for our people. We want the human rights as enshrined in our Constitution to be upheld by all and sundry.
The Committee for the Defense of Human Rights have once again made their demands known to the government that what they want is true democracy in Nigeria. And their message to citizens of Nigeria is not to sell their rights on the platter of money or any material gratification. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Outside Nigeria now, United States Secretary of State John Kerry has pledged intense support for Iraq against the threat of a major militant offensive pushing towards Baghdad from the north and west. Kerry met with Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki and other Iraqi leaders to urge a speeding up of the government formation process in order to face down the insurgents. Maliki says the danger of the crisis represents a threat not only to Iraq but to regional and international peace. Iraqi security forces are struggling to hold their ground in the face of an insurgent onslaught that has seized major areas of 5 provinces, displaced hundreds of thousands of people, and sparked fears of country could be torn apart.
It is a moment of decision for Iraq's leaders, and it's a moment of great urgency. Iraq faces an existential threat, and Iraq's leaders have to meet that threat with the incredible urgency that it demands. Support will be intense, sustained, and if Iraq's leaders take the necessary steps to bring the country together, it will be effective. I heard about that verdict today. I was so concerned about it and frankly disappointed in it that I immediately picked up the telephone and I talked to the foreign minister of Egypt and I registered our serious displeasure at this kind of a verdict under the circumstances of where we find ourselves today. Now, today's conviction is obviously, it's a chilling and draconian sentence. And you know, it's deeply disturbing to see in the midst of Egypt's transition. The success of Egypt going forward will depend on the protection of universal human rights. And it will depend on a real commitment to embracing the hopes of the people there that they're going to see a judicial system that is responsive and modern and not one trapped in ideology or in this kind of extreme decision.
Meanwhile, European Union foreign ministers have urged Russia to back the Ukraine government's peace plan or face tougher sanctions. The 28 EU ministers were also seeking a policy response on Iraq and examining fallout from the Syrian conflict that is destabilizing the Middle East. All ministers voiced support for Ukraine President Petro Poroshenko's peace plan, while British Foreign Secretary William Hague wants the Russian President Vladimir Putin had to respond
positively. It's about the support of the presidential peace plan, and all 28 ministers supported it unconditionally. For me personally, it was important to hear comprehensive support of all ministers, and this support, which is in fact a symbol of solidarity for Ukraine, is definitely there. We are fully committed, 100% committed to our peace efforts, to our peace plan. And we've been doing everything which is possible in order to deliver on the peace plan.
And that wraps it on CoreTV News this hour. I'll be back at the top of the hour with more stories. Thanks for being there.